Today, we're going to talk about something almost everyone goes through: heartbreak. We're going to dive into what our source material calls the architecture of a broken heart. And we're not just looking at why it hurts so much, but how that pain can actually become the blueprint for rebuilding yourself, maybe even stronger than before. So let's just jump right in with the big question our source asks. Think about this for a second. What if this awful feeling, the sense of being completely shattered, isn't really an ending? What if it's actually a really tough but necessary beginning?
And wow, this quote just nails that feeling, doesn't it? It's more than just sadness. It's like you're completely lost. One minute, you know where everything is in your life. You've got a map. And the next, it's all just gone. And you definitely didn't ask for this new layout, but here you are, stuck in the middle of it.
So let's really dig into that feeling. In this first part, The World Rearranged, we're going to break down what's actually going on inside of us when we get hit with that initial, overwhelming shock.
This right here, this is so important to understand. The pain isn't just about missing someone in the here and now. It's about the future you were planning, the one you saw so clearly in your head suddenly being erased. Just poof, your sense of direction is gone and you're left standing in a reality you never wanted.
And man, these feelings are just draining. As you can see, your brain gets stuck on this loop, right? Replaying memories over and over, questioning every little decision. It's physically and emotionally exhausting. And it creates this weird, surreal feeling that everyone else's life is moving forward while you're just stuck, frozen.
So that feeling of being stuck brings us to our next section, the trap of resistance. Because, our natural reaction is to fight the pain, to push it away. But that resistance, that's often the very thing that keeps us trapped.
Okay, now this is where things get really fascinating. This slide completely reframes the experience. Heartbreak isn't just you being sad, it's a kind of withdrawal. Your brain was literally physically wired to a connection, to a routine, and when that's suddenly taken away, your whole system goes into a state of shock. This isn't a sign of weakness, it's just biology. And this chart just lays out that mind shift so perfectly. On the left, you've got that voice in your head, the one that tells you you're weak or that you should be over it by now. But the biological reality on the right, that's a much kinder and honestly more accurate way to see it. Your body and your brain are just trying to adjust to a huge change.
So what's the bottom line here? The pain itself, well, it's going to happen. It's a natural part of the process. The real suffering, though, comes from fighting it, from trying to ignore it, numb it, or distract yourself 24/7. When you resist feeling what you feel, you actually just tighten its grip and make the whole process take way longer.
Okay, so this brings us to a huge turning point in our explainer. It's a moment where one simple shift in your thinking can literally change everything. And it all comes down to asking the right question.
You see, our source suggests that most of us, for totally understandable reasons, get stuck because we're asking a question that's all about one thing: escape. We just want the pain to stop and we want to get away from it as fast as humanly possible.
And that question is, how do I get over this? It makes sense, right? But it frames the whole experience as just some obstacle you need to get past, something to erase. But that mindset just leads right back to the resistance we were talking about, because you're treating the pain like it's the bad guy. But what if there's a different way to look at it? Our source argues that the whole direction of your healing, everything, changes the second you stop trying to get over it and start thinking differently. And there it is. That is the powerful shift. How do I grow through this? See the difference? This question isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about figuring out how to carry it differently. It accepts that the pain is part of the journey and starts looking for the lessons, for the strength that's hidden inside of it.
Okay, so you've made that mental shift. You're asking a new question. That's huge. But what do you actually do? This next section, Rebuilding Step by Step, gives us a really practical roadmap for how to move forward.
It's not about making some grand, dramatic gesture. It's all about these 3 simple pillars. First, structure. Little tiny routines that give your nervous system something to hold on to. Second, connection. Even just a quick chat with another human can pull you out of that lonely place where your thoughts get distorted. And third, honesty. Just admitting to yourself, this hurts, without adding any judgment on top of it. That's where the real healing starts.
And this is what that looks like in real life. We're not talking about climbing a mountain here. Progress is just the sum of these tiny, almost boring choices you make every single day. Choosing to get out of bed, choosing to drink some water. Each one is like a small vote for yourself, a quiet little act of moving forward.
And listen, it is so important to remember this.
There are going to be days when a song or a memory just hits you out of nowhere, and you might feel like you're back at square one. You're not. You haven't failed. Healing is a cycle. Each time you revisit that feeling, you actually release a little bit more with its power. It's part of the process, not a sign you're going backwards.
And you know, all this work, all these tiny steps and cycles of feeling and releasing, it all leads somewhere pretty incredible, somewhere you probably didn't expect. Which brings us to our final section, how a heart expands.
This is the wild paradox of it all. The very thing that felt like it was destroying you actually becomes the force that shapes you into someone stronger. You learn what you really care about, you learn where your boundaries are, and you start moving through the world with a kind of focus and intention you just didn't have before.
And here it is, the beautiful final twist. The pain didn't just leave a scar, it carved out more space inside of you. More space for empathy, for resilience, for love, for knowing yourself. It wasn't just damage, it was an expansion.
So in the end, the goal isn't really to get back to the person you were before. The whole process changes you. You become a version of yourself that the old heartbreak just can't touch anymore. You don't just survive it, you actually outgrow it.
And so we'll leave you with this final thought, right back where we started. What if this awful, incredible pain wasn't a stop sign? What if it was really a detour, pointing you down a new road you were always meant to find, the start of a really deep and necessary change?